How to make mobile games. This is part 3, the developer downloaded the 2D platformer game, and I wanted to do another fast video because I want and just do small iterations and maybe just a few minutes every 1 to 2 days, something like that, so you can see the progress and hopefully get some tips and some ideas as this goes along to your games. I hope you do. If you do apply some of these things that you're seeing in your games, drop me a comment. It'll be great to see it online. I'll download it and give you a rating. 5 stars, of course. So, you know, it's all worth it. So the latest update, this past couple of days, I'm going to click play. I'm going to make it big as well, just so that it's more clear on the screen. And I'm trying to remember what the changes were. Overall, I think I've moved the time to the center here. I've moved the best time on the right. And the reason is that I'm going to have an ad banner on the top left here. And this ad banner is it's not going to interfere with the key presses, and the ads will get removed if any player makes any in-app purchase in the game. So it won't cause any, it shouldn't cause any kind of problem in the game, and it won't interfere too much. If I placed it over the buttons, then that obviously would ruin the gaming experience. So this is going a little bit slow. Sorry for the delay. Whilst we're talking about that though, the monetization is something that I kind of like thought about last night, and in bed I had an idea as I was sort of mulling the game over in my head. And what I might do is for this game is have a coin currency, and basically what that is you have a set. The player will have a set of coins when the game first begins, say for 100 for example. And to unlock each level, it costs 10 coins or 5 coins or whatever it may be. And so the first, bunch of levels you can just open up and unlock, and that's totally fine. But then when you reach, with 20 or 30 or whatever it may be, then you can't unlock that because you've not got enough coins. But you can get coins by replaying levels or by doing some kind of action in the game, like an offer wall or a Facebook post. So those players out there who maybe can't pay or don't want to pay, they can find a way to do that. So that's something that I was thinking about how to do last night, because in any game developer's thinking process, if it's not like just for the love of games, you're also building a business out of this, then monetization has to come into like the, sorry, there's a fly. Has to come in like the early stages of the thinking process. Don't make a game make a game that you love and you want to do and you feel passionate about, of course, but think carefully about the monetization. And I know a lot of game developers don't like that. I know there's like a resistance to we're not doing this for the money, we're doing this for the love of games, which is great. Of course, come from that place, but at the end of the day, if you're not paying bills and you're not paying the team, it's that dream of making the games can be over quickly. So think about how it's going to make money. I have seen people before, friends of mine who I know, who basically said they'll make a game or an application, and the game or application will. I said, how's it going to make money? They'll say, oh, we'll figure that out once the game is live, and we'll get it popular first. My opinion is, that particular app that I'm talking about failed. But think about that early on, anyway. So I digress. Let me move into the game and click play, and let's make this large so that you can see it. And I'm sorry about my appearance today. I've just jumped out of the shower. So what did I do? I changed this 3 to have the new font, and that looks a lot better. I think the sound now is the jump sound I've added. The splat. That splat, hopefully you saw that on the screen. It wasn't too slow. I'll do it again if I can. And yeah, so you get this particle splat and this sort of splat sound as well, which I think sounds really nice. And at the end of the level, if I can do it, if I can pass this. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too loud on the speakers because I've not got this set up as system audio. And I think play level again. This sound here. That little cool, a very, very cool 8-bit sound, I think. I think that's all that I've added on the sound and the visuals. I've sort of got this background thing going on here at the moment, and that's I'm trying to figure out what the background is going to be, or whether it's going to have a background in the first version, or whether we just forget about that and just don't have the background at all. I'd like to know your opinion really on that. One of the things I'm considering is I need to make this game fast. I'm the sort of business model for Cobalt Play is to build good games, fun games, of course, but they have to be built quick. I would like to personally, I like to rely more on the fun gameplay to make the game popular, rather than say the artwork. And artwork for me would take a lot of time if I was to do it, or even if I was to pay somebody to do it, it would take a lot of time. But I'm going to show you this background anyway, since I've started to talk about it, and I've got to find it. So just give me one moment, because I was actually playing with this. Okay, so the background, I have a second camera, and I'll just, like I say, playing around with what I could do with the background and making it 3D. So this is just an example. I have a main camera here, which is connected to the player, and that follows the player around. So I've made it a child, but I've also made a camera background. Now, the gameplay, this character here, these buttons, the level are all 2D. And I wanted a 3D background. So the way to do that is you can have two cameras in the game. And I've made this camera a part of the character as well. I've made it to perspective here. Orthographic is 2D, perspective is 3D. And I've changed the layer so that it's behind the main camera. So this is -2, this is -1. And the other setting that you want to change, in case you want to do this for yourself, is you have to change it to the background camera. You have to change it to only show the background objects. Okay. Now these background objects in here, this is the background parent object, and these are all the cubes. You notice that the layer is background object. Okay. So it will only render those background objects, and the main camera, which is the player and the whole main game and everything, you can see here that it is not rendering the background objects, because that way it would render a 2D flat image. If I do that, I'll show you. It should turn on. And it's not working at the moment. Sorry, I don't know why. Anyway, I'll forget about that. But we don't need the 2D camera to render the background objects. It might be because those objects are too big that it's not displaying. And then that background camera is actually a child of the main camera. So I just wanted to explain that, because having two cameras can be a very cool tool in games. You can have like a zoom feature like we do. And you can see here, like, we've got this this kind of 3D background thing going on, and I always like to see. I'm dying. I always like to see big 3D objects in the background and some really nice perspective, even if the game is 2D. And you can get some. Sorry, I'll say it again. You can get some really cool effects in there, I think. I'm going to play around with this, and hopefully this will give you guys some ideas as well. Like, you can really make these large. No. Actually, I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to just grab all these cubes, highlight them all by pressing Shift, go to the Scale tool by pressing R, and just make these all really kind of large. Yeah, they're going to overflow. I wonder if I can spread them out a little bit. Can I do that? No, I can't. I was just trying to make these a little bit larger, but I think the best way to do it actually is just bring these closer to the that background camera, and then we're going to get more of a I think what it's called is a parallax effect. So sorry, closer objects moving faster, and that gives you more sense of depth in there. So I'm just going to click play, and I wanted to show you this because obviously in these developer videos, it's the tips videos as well. So, but there you can see. I mean, that's moving a lot faster now, and they're actually in front of the game level itself. So that's why they're moving quite fast compared to the level itself. Anyway, I'm just going to go back, and I'm just going to make these smaller again and shift them back to where they were before. All right, and I'm going to turn off the background. So, but play around with two cameras in your game, guys. If you download Killer Shooting Sniper X on Android or iPhone, you can see there's a zoom scope when you unlock the third weapon, and that's a very interesting way to use two cameras in the scene. The other one that I did is this. Sorry, I've got a fly around me. Sorry, guys. The other one that I did was this fade up effect here, which is a fade from black, and that just happened there. Hopefully, you've seen that. It just fades up. The way that I've done that, and I think it's a very cool thing for any game really to have a smooth transition from level to level or screen to screen. The way to do that is I basically grabbed a piece of geometry here, just a flat piece of geometry. You could do this with a cube as well, it's fine. I've just applied a black transparent diffuse material. There's no texture on here, it's just a black default default material. And what happens is I've done an animation on here, so if I go to Window, Animation, probably intermediate developers might find this useful, beginners might find it a little confusing. Opening up the material property here, go into the alpha setting. Let me just scale this up a little bit if I can. Okay, there we go. So I'll just make it larger here as well. So it fades up over the course of what's this, half a second, 30 frames. And there you can see it starts off, we're setting this point here just by going to right click and then add keyframe, and then right click and add another keyframe here. Go to the first keyframe, punch in 1 here. This is the alpha channel of the material, and then going over to the next point here, which is 30 frames, and then punching in 0, and you'll get that smooth curve. The other thing I've done on this is I've made it clamp forever, which basically makes the animation stop at the end. It stays at the end and doesn't repeat or go back to the beginning, which is what we want. We want it to stay transparent. But what you'll notice here in the game scene as well is that geometry is still there, even if it's completely transparent. I think what Unity might do is it might render that alpha as well, so it'll actually compute that alpha, and that wastes some of the GPU cycles, or the frame rate gets affected by that, I think. So just in case, what I've done here is in animation, I've gone to the mesh renderer, and this enabled property here is you can turn the mesh renderer on or off, which is this button here. And what I've done is at the end of this 30, I've right clicked here again to make a keyframe, right clicked here to make another keyframe at the 30 frame mark, and what it does is it's all the way 1 1 1 1 1, and then right at the end, boom, it turns to 0. So that actually, there you can see it's turned off here on this little mesh renderer. So it's no longer having to think about that geometry or rendering the alpha, and so that's hopefully that speeds things up, and I hope that's useful for everybody as well. And let me just turn that off. I think so far that's pretty much all I did over this past few days. I just moved these buttons down here, and I added a little bit of text on the front as well, just to make it super clear what you've got to do. And I think that's pretty much it. So the other thing is, I just want to say thanks for the comment, just to show, just so we can take a look at, you know, and answer them whilst I'm on the video. I might as well. So this was the first video here. Yasin, one more nice video, Unity Master. Thank you, Yasin. I smile every time I see these comments. Thank you so much, really. It's very kind. Crazy Cast. I noticed on your object, in your scene called Add Banner, iPhone game, I'm just going to click it again, add somewhere. How do you make add banners appear and compress the game itself? Compress the game itself when the ad is active and go away and increase size of the... I'm not too sure about that, but I can do... I think I might do an ad video, because I don't think I've done one of those before. The add banner objects that you saw in the game scene, I think it was up here. This is an old sort of way to add a banner. I think that was just like a game object. But if you're talking about things like admob.com or chartboost.com, I can do a separate video on that. It's pretty easy to do. I use Prime31 plugins, prime31.com, and it makes setting up ad banners very, very easy and very fast. So I might do a quick video on that, but do note that the plugins are paid, but it saved me a huge amount of time, and it's paid itself off many times now at the cost of those plugins, so I really recommend it. But I'll try to get a video done for you, Crazy Cast, you know, and thanks for the comment. Please keep watching and stick on the channel, and then I can, you might see that in the next week or so. All right, next one. This is the second video that I posted 8 minutes ago. Oh, this was really soon. Let me go down to the bottom. So, Cyclone NL, why on earth do you prefix all your file names with 2D platformer? Oh, it looks so ugly. Cyclone, it's because this project contains a bunch of other projects previously. And so I have to differentiate between the different scripts. I'll give you an example. If I go down to scripts here, you'll notice that in the same folder, Chick's Revenge is in there with a bunch of scripts related to Chick's Revenge, like character, missile, projectile, and even this one, this Angry Birds Training, which isn't the name of the game. It's called Ninja Birds X. And that's why I have to put 2D platform at the front. Why do I recycle the projects and not delete out the scripts? It's because of reuse. I can quickly grab code, game objects, particle effects, materials, and then apply them in the new game very quickly. So setting up the 2D camera becomes very fast. All of the previous settings of how to get things rendered efficiently. I'll have to clean up a project at some point and just remove certain things. Textures I do tend to remove because they're quite large. But since it's only me that's working on the code side right now, it's not a problem to keep those in there. So that's why I've got this prefix in. GetBix, 8 minutes ago. So you should, and I also know about others for me, it's completing the level so that you... Yeah, so thanks for this feedback. You're basically saying that, completing the level so that the next one is unlocked and then beating your own personal time. I had to think about this last night, and I totally agree. I think after watching a lot of Super Meat Boy gameplay, it's really about the progress and getting through those levels, and so I really want to do that. I don't want it just to be focused on the time, but actually getting through all of those levels is one of the challenge. I also agree on your point you said about up here, saying about having 30 levels, and that's a good number. I think I also considered that as well, as a rough number for the first version. And then basically every couple of days I'll update it and include more levels. The question is, though, how to actually handle the difficulty of those levels. Should it be a slow progress up, or should it just be a random set of levels? Can players unlock any levels at any point, or do you have to complete the level, yes or no? So that's one of the things I've got to consider as well. But yeah, thanks for the comment here. You said it was very useful how I explained things, and also keeping the font and the old school feel of it. Yeah, I totally agree. Having some old arcade 8-bit, 4-bit, 2-bit, whatever music it is in the game, something very cool and retro, because the target really is gamers like myself who are really into challenging, hardcore platform games that they can really get their teeth into. And it's not for everybody, but that, of course, define the audience when you're building a game. So that's really good feedback. Honestly, those 2 points, thank you very much for that. Please keep the comments coming and the suggestions. I want to get as many ideas and feedback as possible so that you guys also have a fun game to play at the end of it. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'm going to do another video maybe tomorrow or the day after and keep you guys updated on what's going on. Thanks for all the comments. Please like, please subscribe. If you do download any games, please rate them as well. That really supports us. And as always, great comments. Thank you so much. It really makes me smile when I see comments and for the nice things said. Anyway, guys, have an awesome weekend. I'm going to catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye bye.